And good evening, depending on whatever time you are joining us. Karibu sana to Kenya Political Table, where we discuss matters politics and matters governance. What is happening? Who did what? Where? When? Why? Did I say how? Yes, and obviously how much money was spent, because when you talk about governance, when you talk about politics, money is spent, money is lost. Now, pia the taxpayer contributes either towards a loss or an increase or a profit of the nation. And as usual, I am joined by Emmanuel Bosiro, who helps us digest what is happening in Kenya, East Africa, Africa, and worldwide. So, what is happening in Kenya currently? Now, the question that we are asking ourselves today is the Azimio house burning down? Are we going to see a split in Azimio? And this comes after Martha Karua and Jeremiah Kioni of Jubilee actually expressed their dissatisfaction with the Kenya Kwanza government, obviously giving a status report of the government. And this comes just a few days, 1 or 2 days after obviously the Azimio La Umoja gave a scorecard or comprehensive scorecard of Kenya Kwanza at 1 or Ruto at 1. Now, of course, the two, that is Karua and Kioni, have done this or are doing this through the Kamwene Leadership Forum, and they're actually claiming that there could be, should I say, loopholes or minuses or dashes, yes, within Azimio, especially because number one, we had Kioni earlier on stating that if he was the leader of opposition, if he was in the place of Raila Odinga, then most definitely he would have put an end or suspended the talks or the bipartisan talks, because according to them, of course, they're headed nowhere. Now, before we get into digesting or finding out whether nyumba inachomeka, let's listen to Martha Karua, what she had to say earlier on today.
We are here as Kamwene Leadership Forum, and we want to add our voices as a group in condemning the actions of the KK illegitimate regime, which is and insensitive. The manner in which they are handling national affairs has caused untold suffering to a majority. The recent hike in fuel prices have hit hardest among the very vulnerable. Hiking the price of kerosene by 33 shillings at one go is totally insensitive. And we notice this is happening when Kenyans are already under a burden of high taxation and worsening economic conditions. It is also a time of high joblessness. I think we all witnessed in Embakasi yesterday thousands who came looking for only 350 jobs. So we know this is a time when most households do not even have a single person having formal employment. We therefore feel that this is insensitive and against the people. We notice that the taxation on a liter of fuel is 79 shillings, which makes it just 40% of the price. So it is not true to tell Kenyans that the hike in fuel prices is dictated by the high oil prices around the world. We do remember KK promising during the campaigns, and particularly this was by Ruto, that the multiple taxation on fuel was unreasonable, and the promise to do to do away with most of this taxation. That promise has turned to be a hoax. The regime has failed to prioritize the basic needs of Kenyans, such as health, education, and food. On the issue of education, we note that many children are out of schools because they cannot afford fees. Those who reported, many have been sent home, and the parents are unable to get them back. For university students, it's a terrible time because the KK regime has opted to abolish the system that has been tried and tested, worked for years, where every child, irrespective of their social standing, was entitled to a student loan. That is what educated those in KK and most of us. And that is what equalized the poor and the rich, children of the poor and the rich, because all had an equal chance of joining university, courtesy of the loan. Now we have a situation where university will be a preserve of the rich, and where the KK regime introduces a system where they are able to discriminate in issuance of the loans. We do not know what they will be using. I was just wondering whether it will be the height, the social circumstances, or is it by name that they will be issuing the loans. This is totally unacceptable. We also notice rising insecurity, and we particularly point to Lamu, where people have been brutalized, killed, and their businesses and houses destroyed. The many incidents of insecurity in northern Kenya and other parts of the country. We would want to see sufficient security personnel deployed in these areas instead of employing police to harass people. The dreaded and newly minted SSU police squad, that is Special Service Support Unit, which harassed, maimed, and killed Kenyans during the demonstration, is the one that is now being used politically to harass Kenyans. And you remember a recent incident where a businessman was abducted. And only days ago when Maina Jenga was abducted by this very unit. And we are alerting Kenyans to know that there is now a political wing of the police out to harass those who dissent. And I would tell my colleagues here, beware, because we've seen Uhuru targeted, we've seen Maina Jenga targeted. Next, it could be any of us or any other dissenting figures in the country. On the ongoing dialogue, we notice that one of the priority items was cost of living. It still remains cost of living, electoral justice, and respect for political parties. KK has not shown any signs of taking these issues seriously. The cost of living and the spike in fuel prices has spiked when the talks are supposed to be commencing to deal with those very issues. Cessation of harassment of dissenting voices, and also respect for political parties. We have seen Ruto himself embracing those who have been disciplined by political parties. We are telling our team, kindly be woke. Be woke, so that if the KK regime is not serious in these talks, then we should know of our next move. That is our statement today, and I invite my colleagues to make additions.
Okay, yes. Now that was Martha Karua, as well as the group from Kamwene Leadership Forum. And what they were talking about, what they're addressing, first of all, is displease in the system, that is the KK system, as Martha puts it. And of course, they've addressed a couple of issues. But before we delve into the issues that they have discussed, now we saw Azimio come as one recently, and they put out comprehensive report on what has happened, or their take on Kenya Kwanza at one. And right now we are seeing Martha Karua coming up in the name of the Kamwene, yeah? It's Kamwene, yes, Kamwene Leadership Forum, now giving a similar statement in regards to KK at one. Of course, expressing their disappointment in the various things that are happening in the system. So I am just asking it. Does this mean that the House is actually probably seeing, or we are probably looking at a split in the Azimio La Umoja group?
Thank you for that good introduction to this question. That are we seeing or expecting a split in Azimio coalition?
Mm-hmm.
First, do we have even Kenya Kwanza?
Kenya Kwanza, of course, yes, it's there.
What comprises Kenya Kwanza?
Different parties, of course, that have come together to form Kenya Kwanza.
Kenya Kwanza,
Mm-hmm.
simply it's UTA.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way Mheshimiwa William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza has put it,
Mm-hmm.
to seem like an alliance, but it's not an alliance,
Mm-hmm.
whereby those political parties first dissolved to join UDA.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a few remaining parties that have not dissolved to join Kenya Kwanza. Now, our point of interest here is Azimio.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately they lost an election.
Mm-hmm.
Azimio split.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately they lost the 2022 general election. Azimio split. Some few individuals joined Kenya Kwanza,
Mm-hmm.
either willing or by being influenced by a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Going down, they are politicians and political parties, as I was saying yesterday. They are here for business deals.
Mm-hmm.
They are not here to win political seats. What they want is that it does not dissolve at all.
Mm-hmm.
So they put a little effort to have some 1 or 2 governors, 1 or 3 women rep, some 3 to 5 MPs,
Mm-hmm.
around 40 MCAs, and they will all, that's a good bargain. So the subscriptions made by those members will keep the party moving on until the next generation, again, when they will go to a bargaining table during making memorandums with alliances now. And they'll say, we are UDA, we are Wiper, that means specific to Wiper political party. Now Kalonzo comes with Wiper every time and says, Wiper, Wiper, Wiper. Now, the split of Azimio will be one. Raila Amolo Odinga will always be a fighter. But those with him are not fighters. They don't understand Raila Odinga. They don't understand his mission for this our country. They don't understand the pain that Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga has undergone to see Kenya where it is today. So these other political parties are co-joined with the Azimio. So these parties include ODM, Wiper, ANAC, we have Ford Kenya, and Jubilee, which again we know in a yumba yumba. Now what happens here, it's ODM again, which will fight up to a moment where the alliance will dissolve. So maybe 2026 there we'll have another alliance when to face Kenya Kwanza. So the split comes, one, by the influence from the government. It will want other parties to dissolve as a way to break down the opposition, and two, as individual interests who don't want to play the opposition role together with Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga. So for it to dissolve and split, it's always obvious. It's obvious. It's obvious that it must split, and the indications are that few have left Azimio and joined as Kenya Kwanza. The few remaining, I'm sure, will not fight up to 2027.
And what you've said about the few who have left Azimio as well, we've seen Martha Karua expressing her displeasure, akisema in the name of respect for political parties, because according to her, she feels that the president is actually very disrespectful when it comes to political parties, because number one, he is yani his arms open, embracing those who have been punished by other parties. Of course, in this question, they're talking about the group that was suspended from ODM due to what, misconduct or due to dealing with the government. And the next day, of course, we saw them having a talk as well as breakfast in State House. Now, tukiangalia pia this forum that they've created, that is the Kamwende Forum, which obviously the platform was created for Mount Kenya leaders, a place where they could speak their issues. And even according to Kioni, alisema that the platform is neither Azimio members, nor is it Kenya Kwanza members, wako hapo katikati. So does that mean if, for example, obviously the split happens, are we looking at this leadership forum as, number one, a way of probably trying to get or trying to bring in the majority from the opposition of the opposition, that is not the current government, whose stronghold obviously is also in the central region, especially Mount Kenya region? Or number two, is it that this split is going to see this particular Kamwene Leadership Forum actually be part of Azimio as one?
It cannot be possible. The forum, in politics, there's no middle ground. It's either you are for us or against us. There's nothing like middle ground that now we're coming here. Now, at the end of the day, those from government side will come to this meeting to defend the government. Those from opposition will come to play their role. And when you're in opposition, you're playing the cards, whether the government will accept you. One of the main reasons people play opposition is that to keep the government in check. And when the government realizes that you're a threat, they'll also use other ways to have you in the government. So this forum, whereby they are basically discussing the issues of Mount Kenya region, at times it could be a meeting for political interests, only politicians. Here they come and try to start businesses again. Their forums, they can never meet. But when we say now here is for development of the region, no, who is responsible for development?
Obviously, it's them, the leaders.
Yeah, so whether you are in opposition or in government, you are responsible for development in whichever aspect you are being elected in. So basically, what normally happens in such meetings is you come and now play a role as a region. Are we really going to the right direction? As people from Mount Kenya, we are now getting split. Could it be that the people from Rift Valley will always want to use our split to continue clinging in the presidential seat? Okay, and then possible reasonings now coming from sober politicians. Okay, and then again now they start playing their cards afresh to the next revolution. So to me, from where I see it, is that such discussions, one, are for the politicians alone. Now, when you want to say that the bei maisha imeenda juu, who suffers most?
Obviously, it's us, the citizens.
Now, politicians don't even suffer much.
No.
Because they speak from the same podium. The only thing is that today you are in a seat, tomorrow I'm not. Can you please have mercy on me? Because when I'll be okay, you saw the other day Mike Sonko say when he was a governor, he used to employ other men's girlfriends.
Sonko. Anyway, yes.
Girlfriends here does not mean our girlfriends. It's a symbolic language in politics to simply mean even other relatives, friends are coming in. So, to me, from where I sit, I remain with this that such platforms are only meant for politicians. They're not meant for a local monarch. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen Martha address a couple of things that are affecting or that Kenyans are also crying about in terms of when it comes to high taxation as well as joblessness. Mona ameguzia the incident that happened juzi at Embakasi, where 350 job positions are announced and then the turn-up is 7,000 people. And we've seen that not only in Embakasi, but at Okunjetu generally, they just announced even a club, will just announce that
Anywhere.
they are hiring and
Anywhere. We have a
two
high
people and yeah, 1 million people like turn up there. It's so sad. It's so sad the kind of
one, it's good now that you started this conversation of unemployment in Kenya. We have high unemployment rates. I don't know how this should be blamed too, but the blame will always go to the government.
Definitely, yes.
What happens is we have high unemployment rates for skilled laborers. Skill means people who have gone to school.
Oh, yes.
People who have certificates. People who have skills. People who have graduated. And then they are unemployed with such high rates. It's very discouraging. Very discouraging. And it's so dangerous to joke with youth. Kenya now, we can expect a revolution with high unemployment rates. And we get someone leading now this multitude to Ruto must go. He will go. He will go. These are the youths.
I found that tough.
Huh? How?
I found that tough.
Go and look history of revolution. Martin Luther King. Everywhere revolutions are being made by when you have high rates of unemployment. It will reach a point in our country now. We want to elect leaders without even their money now. We only get someone who has qualities and voting. Because now, William Ruto was all over saying youths. Hey, youths, wakampakuda. Expecting now that he will understand them. Ameingia ofisi na wameanza kudharau hawa youth.
Tuliambiwa tunapewa kazi za mjengo ndio tunazisubiria.
Aligeuka akasema si kazi za mjengo ni za kufagia. Akatumia women. The youths and women in the society very risky to handle. You need to wear gloves to handle them. Now, if someone lead a revolution, and I see the potential in the likes of Babu Wino, the likes of Simba Arati, these youths, waamue sasa ni Ruto must go. Youths, hawana tribalism challenge.
Oh yes, yeah. If you're Kikuyu, they don't really care.
Youths are universal.
Yeah.
You see what Bobby Wine is doing in Uganda.
Uganda. We should also one of these days.
We want such.
Look at what is happening there.
So high unemployment rates is very discouraging when you have multitudes of youths who have skills. Even others are finding Kenya not to be a home. Sure. Are leaving our country each and every day to go and develop other countries. People are moving out of our country.
Most definitely. And
should we ban Kenya and go?
Tuachie nani nchi? Unajua Sonko alisema sisi hatuna mahali pa kuenda. The rich are the only ones who have a place to go to. If Kenya burns down today, ako na nyumba ni wapi?
Netherlands.
Yeah, Netherlands ataenda. Sisi wengine iko wapi? Nyumba ya pili iko wapi? And speaking of Kenyans leaving and okay, before we get to Kenyans leaving, Martha Karua also talked about the issue of insecurity, which is something that the Interior CS also mentioned today. That is Kindiki Kidure, about majorly insecurity in northern Kenya, something that they're trying to handle because for the longest time, we have had a lot of cases of banditry as well as terrorism, mostly in the northern part of Kenya. So obviously, yes, we have a question in that, considering pia ukiangalia saizi, in any nation, number one, if the unemployment rate is high, definitely insecurity is also on the rise.
Yeah, because someone cannot go and sleep hungry.
Most definitely.
Why the neighbor has got a hand.
Most definitely.
You cannot go and sleep hungry. Why the supermarket is there with
everything you need.
Everything. Security, actually, internal security rotates around unemployment and employment. If someone is employed, if businesses are doing well, then it's going to be recorded a low insecurity case. This reminds me what we saw in Tanzania. Mafuta inaenda Tanzania and Uganda inapita Kenya.
Yeah.
Mafuta ya Tanzania, 1 liter of petrol, as today, it was 193 shillings. That's petrol.
Okay.
Diesel ni 196. Now you wonder, mafuta yanatoka Kenya, yanaenda those countries. Uganda yako cheap by more than 16 shillings. Kenya tuko mbali. Now unajiuliza, Museveni anatoa wapi mafuta? Wanasema mafuta imepanda everywhere in the world. So there must be something in Kenya. Kuna watu wanaiba pesa.
But sanity needs to be brought, because at the end of the day, if you look at even how much taxes are gotten even from fuel itself, it's really wanting, And pia tumeona kama hata tukiongelea tu, wanasema anytime the cost of fuel rises anywhere in any country, that means the price of everything, basically everything, just goes up, And we are at a time where we are struggling. Tuliambiwa unga is going to go back to 150, and oil is going to be cheaper. But now, as Kenyans, we're suffering joblessness, high taxation, because right now, every single day they say you wake up, a new form of tax is being put on you. Kufikia wakati kama saizi, how do you find people who are into employment, like formally employed, by the time you're receiving your paycheck, the amount of things that have gone into that have been taxed from your money, it's very unrealistic. Unashanga how you're supposed to survive, but let's hope that even though wametupilia mbali, people from Azimio, wakina Martha Karua wametupilia mbali whatever is happening in the bipartisan talks, despite the priority being the cost of living for Kenyans, let's really hope that come come November, December, then probably we're going to find a way of creating sanity in Kenya, because otherwise we might see a revolution.
Don't say sanity in Kenya. We never. There are things, there are impossibilities in Kenya.
Why?
Who is going to clean the system? Who is going to clean the system?
It's this the system itself has to clean itself.
No. The system cannot clean itself.
Then who is supposed to do that? The opposition? Obviously not. Because it's part of the system.
Saints. We can elect saints into different political seats. But the seats they're going to sit on, they are very spoiled. That office, you're going to be introduced to things that you never imagined. Hey. We think we will have angels come from heaven. Angels are not going to come and clean the mess unless we decide as a country we want to have fair equality in our country. We want to have whereby you work and get what you deserve. You don't join politics in less than 2 years. You have done. How come? People join politics without nothing. Terrible. Nothing. Less than 2 years, someone is at
your rich. Yeah.
You're walking around with the luxurious vehicles, heavy vehicles. Hadi unashangaa huyu alijoin politics juzi tu. So if you want to be rich actually in Kenya, join politics.
Join politics, so become a pastor.
No, pastor ina. Watu walipi sadaka. Wewe ingia politics. Join politics.
You become 50 rich.
Billion. Use 1 billion in election. Be elected again. Still another 100 billion. You die. And
Kesi baki kotini.
Yes.
Anyway, that's what they go. But we are really looking forward to bringing sanity. And so, dear viewers, now we're just asking you: do you feel or do you see Azimio splitting up? Because venye kunaenda ni kama nyumba inachomeka. Unajua when nyumba ikianza kuchomeka, you start seeing signs ndogo ndogo. It doesn't have to be that official, but you start seeing signs Now, from the brief that Martha Karua gave out, of course, just days after the whole Azimio team actually gave out their report, does it bring a conflict hapo katikati? Is the house burning down? Please feel free to tell us on the comment section below. Now, Emmanuel talked about Kenyans wanting to move, yani to talk a Kenya, tuache Kenya, tuachie atujue kina nani, because life has become hard. And this goes hand in hand with obviously good news about the immigration office finally clearing the backlog of passports that had been there for some time. And obviously, the Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Professor Kithure Kindiki, announced that the backlog in the immigration offices has been cleared, and that the passports are now ready for collection, with over 78,000 passports ready for collection. I don't know. Munatoka mnenda wapi? Whom do you want to leave Kenya to or with? Now, anyway, so Kindiki also mentioned that when it comes to the Directorate of Immigration, it has been neglected for years, actually abandoned as well as unfinanced. That's leading to inadequate machinery for production, which is something that we have seen for the longest time now. So obviously, the cabinet secretary said that the new reforms that have been put in place to streamline the efficiency as well as some of the services that are there in the immigration department, yenye itawafanya ama will now see a faster and more reliable way of delivering passports to the people, that is within a short period of time. Now, also, the passports being cleared, or the backlog being cleared, has come with conditions as well as some restrictions, which are what? Now, obviously, the system, yani the what Kindiki's docket, they have launched a rapid results initiative, that is RRI, where the passports that are produced are supposed to or must be collected within 30 days. So if you do not collect your passport within 30 days, it's going to be disposed of, and you have to reapply afresh, pay afresh, and on top of that, you are going to be fined. Yes, so that's what is there. So obviously, once again, they've come up with a system or a way of getting uh, of you who applied for your passport and has not gotten your passport getting your passport, which is inclusive of receiving messages, that is every Wednesday, yes, about who or where or when to collect your passport. That is the coming week, which this is something that is really good. And we have seen this being an issue for the longest time. We have seen the immigration offices working day and night, yani wameenda mpaka kwa the night shifts, so as to be able to produce or to clear the backlog that has been there in the immigration office for a long time. And of course, those who are working night shift, according to reports, are also still going to work on night shift. And also something we can say, something in regards to creating employment opportunities, is that in order to address the overcrowding at the queuing bays, obviously in the immigration department or at near your house, wherever it is that you go to like get your passport for. Now, the youth that is who have been enlisted in the National Youth Service, that is the NYS, are actually the ones who are mandated or who have been mandated to help with management as well as ensuring that there's better customer service. And of course, if you've been to the immigration offices, you have seen how the NYS have come in handy, or how they come in handy to try and assist those who are trying to get the services, or the immigration services, get their passports renewed, new passports, everything in regards to what happens in immigration. Now, of course, we have to commend that. I think that's like a good source of employment, not for many people, for very few people, but it's also good. And remember last week when the InfoTrack results came, or the survey, they actually graded Kindiki as the top most performing CS in Kenya. Now, Ali Promise is bringing sanity. We have to hear from the Kenyans themselves how many people have gotten their passports, even those who are crying for after 2 years. But don't you say that Kindiki has actually, or can we commend Kindiki for the good job that he's doing in the immigration department?
Yeah, he's doing a good work. And that docket he's handling is very sensitive. It's the eye of the government, actually.
Yeah.
So he's trying to bring hopes to every department. That hope was lost. So issues about immigration, let that house be clean. Let people find it easy to access their passports, leave the country, go do business deals, go visitations, enjoy life.
So it's all about enjoyment. CRT, people want to, but people are actually running away from Kenya to find better pastures, and it feels really weird when you go out there and you find someone saying they want to come and settle in Kenya, because Kenya is also favorable for them.
Yeah, you know what it is that you go make money, come in Kenya. You go make money, you put that in. Yeah, because to them, money is not a problem. When money is not a problem, then life becomes easy.
Most definitely. Yeah, but ulikuwa umeapply passport yako lini? How many months ago? How many years ago? And have you yet to go and collect your passport, or is there relief for you? Tell us. Ama ulirusha hongo pia ndani ukatokwa, and you haven't gotten your passport till today, or you have gotten your passport? The comment section as well is open. And tell us, do you feel like grading Kithure Kindiki, that is the interior CS, as the best performing CS is actually a yay or a nay? Is it advantage? Is it the truth, or is it something that you go, or you actually agree with? Yes, please tell us. And as we move on, when we talk matters money, when you talk matters leadership, when you talk matters building Kenya. Now we have the Mombasa governor, that is Nasir Abdul Somad, who has strongly opposed the government's plan to privatize Mombasa port. Now, of course, he questioned the government's intention to privatize the port, saying that it's going to have a really negative impact, especially on the people of the coast, or the people of Mombasa. Now, obviously, he questioned how feasible it is to lease, that is, some of the assets of the Kenya Ports Authority to private firms. And of course, we know that Nasir, for the longest time, has been against the privatization of Mombasa Port. We saw that the President, William Ruto, had intentions, or has put forward his intentions to try and lease some different parts of Mombasa Port to private institutions. Now, before we get into President Ruto's plan and into whether or not KPA is actually privatizing KPA is going to be beneficial or detrimental to Kenyans, let's just listen to Abdul Somad, and then we'll be right back.
Mimi nilipokuwa bunge nilijulikana ya kuwa ndiye mtetezi wa mambo ya bandari isiweze kunyakuliwa. Kwa fikra yangu nikadhania ya kwa sasa nishakuwa gavana, hivi vita vitakuwa ni venye kuisha. Lakini kumbe na Mungu amenipangia yake, ananiambia sasa ndio uweka gea. Let it be known, kama viongozi wa kaunti ya Mombasa tukiwa tumeshikana kwa mrengo huu ambao kwamba ni wetu sisi. Jana nimekuwa na mkutano na wabunge wa Mombasa. Nimekaa na speaker kwa niaba ya county assembly members. Hatuwezi kubebwa kifalafala na bandari. Ni lazima tujue feasibility gani ilofanywa kuonesha ya kwa hii bandari ya kwa leo wanataka kuibinafsisha. Kwa nini wasiende kubinafsisha Kenya Airways ili ndege nyingine zije kuingia hapa Mombasa? Tukianza kuzungumza habari ya ndege kuweza kutua katika Mombasa, tunaambiwa ya kwa Kenya Airways inaangaliwa, lakini leo wanataka kubinafsisha Kenya Ports Authority. Ukienda katika sehemu ambazo kwamba zenye kukuza miwa, viongozi wameweza kushikana. Wana Mombasa, nisikizeni na nisikizeni kwa makini, na yakisi mimi yale ambayo kwamba mko nayo nyinyi. Mkiona ya kuwa kaunti ya Mombasa imeajiri vijana, mkiona ya kuwa tunajaribu kila njia, mkiona ya kuwa bei ya leseni tumeweza kuipunguza, mkiona ya kuwa ile fedha ya kulipwa na tuktuk na matatu tumeweza kupunguza, sio kwa sababu hatuhitaji fedha, lakini in the laws of economics there is the principle of diminishing returns. Ukachukua ile tauli ukaitia katika maji, ikamue vile utakavyoikamua, lakini mwisho ukaikamua zaidi, itakatika ile tauli, haitoi tena maji. Hawa watu wanaumia. Msione tumenyamaza mkaona ya kuwa tunayakubali. Tunayanyamaza kwa sababu tunachukulia kwanza ya kuwa pengine Mungu amewajalia na uungwana ule ambao kwamba Mungu ametujalia sisi, ya kuwa tutakaa na kuzungumza hali ya watu wetu. Lakini mkiona sasa tunazungumza, ni kwa sasa Mungu ametufungua macho ya kuwa hamuna uungwana wowote. Nia na madhumuni ni kuweza. Leo nasikia hapa wengine wanasema ya kuwa tuna bandari, sijui tuna nini. Haya maji lao angelikuwa na njia ya kuyauza haya maji, pia maji yangeweza kuuzwa haya. Na mimi nazungumza, kuna wengine katika serikali yangu wananiambia, gavana, taratibu sije ukakukanyagia. Mimi nauliza swali moja, mawaziri wako hapa, Public Service Board, waziri wa afya, waziri wa fedha, waziri kila moja, please tell me, what has the national government done for the people of Mombasa? Kama viongozi tumekaa chini, tena tunawaita, hatuwaiti kuja kwenu, tunawaita muje kwetu, muje kutuambia haya fununu ambayo kwamba tunazisikia kuhusiana na bandari. What is the take of the county of Mombasa in this whole transaction? Haya watu wa Mombasa hawezi kubebwa kiholela kuholela. Haiwezekani. Hawa wana viongozi. Watu waliamua kuchagua viongozi wao, hata kama hawako katika mrengo wenu wa kisiasa, ni mrengo wa moyo wa watu wa Mombasa. Gavana wa Mombasa ni Abdulswamad Sharif Nasir, like it or hate it. Mbunge wa Mvita ni Machele, mbunge wa Changamwe ni Omar Mwinyi, tuna Badi Twalib, tuna Mishi Mboko, tuna Rashid Juma Bezimba, tuna Speaker Aroro ambaye kwamba nazungumza kwa niaba ya wengi ambao ni wa chama wa ODM. We are not dead. We will master the voice of the people against the voice of dictatorship in this country. Never, 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 ever take us for granted.
Yes, now that was Abdul Samad, of course, expressing his displeasure in trying to privatize the Mombasa port. And of course, earlier on this year, we saw Ruto's administration apparently wanting to lease the operations of some 5 ports, that is through PPP, that is a public-private partnership of around or approximately 1.4 trillion shillings. Now, of course, according to reports, that is the Kenya Kwanza team apparently was supposed to, was supposed to hand port to private investors. That is the KDC. It has disclosed that the Kenya Kwanza administration is actually scouting for some private people to run sections of Dongo Kundu Port. We have the Lamu Port, Kisumu Port, obviously Shiboni Fisheries Port, and this was aimed at making like the Northern Corridor more competitive. Now, we don't know if if Kenya decides to privatize like Mombasa port, is it something that you see is going to be beneficial to Kenya, especially when it comes to like the maritime industry, or is it something that is probably going to number one, obviously, when you privatize something, it means that number one, the public or the people who belong there are not going to have access to this particular kind of infrastructure. Obviously, it's going to have an impact when it comes to trade, when it comes to operations of how people, operations of the local wananchi, for example, in coast, and which is something that the Mombasa governor has also raised, being that if we decide to privatize, or if the government decides to privatize Mombasa port, then it's going to be bad, or it's going to have a huge negative effect on the people of Mombasa.
Privatization of something comes with advantages and disadvantages.
Definitely.
Now, before we go there, which government parastatal do you know that's still functioning?
Sorry?
Which government parastatal at the moment do you think it's not privatized?
None that I can think of.
So the government parastatals that used to work during the work times of Mwai, Kibaki, Moi, find it difficult to continue during the leadership of Uhuru Kenyatta.
No.
And as now we've seen with William Ruto. So government is unable to do business with itself. And the truth be told, that the government should not do business. The government should facilitate business. So if the government facilitates business entities like private companies, the private sector, you find that it will be of more advantage to our country. But now when you find the government privatizing a parastatal, there are things that they are going to do to exploit the final consumer, of which is a citizen of our country. So the government should continue maintaining its government parastatals. Let it clean the government parastatals. We've seen the issues with Mombasa every now and then. Remember, this is the highest job creation port in Kenya. Because actually in East Africa. Now, again, you saw with Uhuru Kenyatta wanting to transfer it from Mombasa to Naivasha. You saw the construction of SGR, just located in Kenyatta's family, so that the businesses can continue improving for Kenyatta's family, not Kenyans. Now, again, you seem like Ruto is coming in again, want to privatize Mombasa. Kenyans, nani atatusaidia? Who's going to help us as Kenyans? So I'm going to find it difficult, and I won't say much about it unless we hear the experts, their take on how they want it to be taken and how they want it to move on.
Most definitely. And that is how we are ending our discussion here, by asking you, especially for the residents of Mombasa, if Mombasa port is actually privatized, or yes, if they do the PPP of the Mombasa port, do you find it, will it be beneficial to you as a resident, to you as a person who works in Mombasa, or is it going to be more of disadvantageous than advantageous to you? Please feel free to tell us on the comment section below. And of course, to the experts, we are really looking forward to hearing their opinions as well on the issue of privatization of the Mombasa port, as well as other ports in Kenya that are there, also other sectors, because we've seen a lot of privatization is happening, or leasing companies as well as infrastructure to private investors, you can say that. Anyway, so as we come to an end, most definitely we are looking forward to what the government, what our leaders have in store for us, as obviously we also wait to see the proposed stadium that is going to be built along Gong Road, as well as what is happening in the Kenyan stadiums, as we look forward to the Africa Cup of Nations. Probably we'll be hosting it in 2027, as the Sports CS or insinuated earlier on, which will be something big, something beneficial to Kenya as well. Now, obviously, tumefika mwisho Yes, but this has been the Kenya Political Table. We meet my patients as usual, and with Emmanuel Bosire, who also helps us understand what is happening in matters politics, matters governance. And to you, our viewers, thank you so much for keeping us company and also allowing us to keep you company. And most definitely, we are going to see you again and again and again. And the comment section is open, very much open. Feel free to join us. Feel free to join us virtually as well as physically. And from wherever you are, have a good afternoon, good morning, and good evening.